Now today, we're going to accomplish this with this great lowering kit from Beltec. It's got everything that we need. We've got the Street Performance shocks, we've got the F-150 lowering shackles right there, and our struts for the front, which actually will give us 3 inches of adjustability.
Now the best part about all this, it's relatively easy to install and it's very cost effective. So you know what? I think it's time to stop talking, start working.
And when Bruno says start working,
you better run, boy. As you can see, we got the front tire off, and now it's time to get out the original factory strut. And got the last of the 3 nuts up top holding in place, and once I get this one off, I'm going to give Matt a hand and getting off the bottom bolt that's holding the A-arm to the front strut.
Yeah, let me get it. You ready?
All right, we're good there.
All right, hold it. There we go. All right. We've got a couple things to get out of the way and disconnect before we can drop this whole arm down and give ourselves enough room for that strut to come out. We've got a little sway bar right there and some steering linkage. Once we get all that disconnected, everything should just roll right out of the way. But keep in mind, we've got the jack underneath here. That way we can control the rate at which this descends and we don't have any unexpected surprises.
Yeah.
All right, down.
Got it.
Up, down, up. Yeah, I got it. Down, up, down, up. There you go. All right. So we got the stock strut out of the way, and in a couple of minutes, we'll actually take this apart and put this spring on the new one that we got from Beltec.
Yeah, the strut's pretty cool because it gives you about 3 inches of adjustment in overall height of your vehicle. What comes is it's all about these little rings right here. If you look at the instructions, it tells you that with 3 rings on here, you'd actually be in a 1-inch lift situation. So that's not what we want. Take this little cap off, take one of the rings off, and that's at OEM height with 2 rings. The way this works is this sits up on top of here like that. Your spring goes on it. Well, we're going to drop it down 1 inch. So we'll take one of these rings off here. And now we're down to 1 ring on here, means a 1-inch drop, and that's what we're looking for.
Yeah.
So that'll go there. We'll put that spring on, and we'll be set up front. Now in the back, we want to go down 2 inches, and the whole idea is to have a nice, even stance with this truck.
When it comes to swapping out the springs here, you've got a couple of different options. One, you can use a strut compression tool like we've got right here. It makes things nice and easy, but let's face it, most people don't have one of these things laying around in their garage. A good option might be to take it down to one of your local shops, some guys that specialize in this sort of thing. They can do it quickly and easy, and they shouldn't kill you too bad on the price too, because it's not going to take them too long to do it. So how does this work? What's actually happening? Let's take a look at this. You would actually lay in the strut right here on the bottom pin right here. You lock in these top pins and you get it in nice and tight, and then you will actually crank this down and you can see it actually compressing the spring. There is a ton of pressure on that spring. Now the reason you want to use the right tool or let somebody else do it is because of this. All the pressure of the spring is on this little nut right up here on the top. So if you're just hanging out and you don't compress the spring and you pop this nut off the end, well, right when it gets to the end, boom, the nut flies off one direction, the spring flies another direction, and you got a mess on your hands and you can potentially get hurt. So you always want to make sure you do this the safe way. In fact, a lot of guys I know, they say, man, I hate working with springs. But if you've got the right tool, it's nice and easy. So once you get to that point, you get that nut off, you can reach down here and just pull this strut out, and it's really as simple as taking the new one and sliding it right back in there, which is what we're going to do now. Now we've got our spacers in there. Bruno already took care of that. So we'll slide this up into place, and all we have to do is kind of pay attention and just make sure we get this bracket down here lined up with the spring, and we'll put our nut on up top. Now, once you get that into place, here's what's going to happen. We'll get up here and just take a look at this real quick. Now when you back up on this thing, it actually lets the pressure off the spring, and the spring will expand back to where you need it. Once you get everything where you want it, you're ready to put it back on the truck. Welcome back to TruckU. Now we've got the 1-inch drop taken care of in the front of the truck. We can roll back here now and start working on the 2-inch drop for the rear. We're going to accomplish that with this little shackle right here. It's just going to relocate the leaf spring attachments, which is easy to see there where Bruno's at.
Yeah, so you can see the difference from the shorter one to the longer one. Now the longer one's gonna let this rear axle go up into the body, and this way the whole truck will come down 2 inches, and that's where our drop's gonna come into play. But things are gonna get a little bit difficult back here because we've got an issue. When this thing was assembled, the truck I mean, the leaf spring was bolted onto here before it was bolted onto the frame. So what we've got to do is we'll take off this bolt, then we're going to have to rotate this whole leaf spring assembly up above the frame here because the bolt right now is hitting up against the back of the frame. We can't get it out. So once it's up, it'll clear. Then we can take this shackle off and start bolting in the new one.
And we've got our new shocks too that'll compensate for our 2-inch drop, and they're a more robust shock. It's going to be a nice ride all the way around.
Yep.